It made perfect sense to me. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me now as a sober woman, as a therapist. I get that. And thankfully, I hit a bottom and my bottom got me to where I am today. And I'm so grateful. And I'm also absolutely grateful for the 20 plus years of my addiction because of all the things I've been through. And I have been through a lot. I get to help people today, like it's so crazy. For example, my affiliation or association, not affiliation, that's the wrong terminology, association with a particular biker club, a very dangerous biker club. I have a new client who actually was a hitman for a biker gang, and now he's trying to turn his life around. I know that lifestyle because I was around it, and he absolutely was shocked when I was recommended to him, and I think I was recommended to him because of my history. And he said, I would never have been able to share the things that I share with you because nobody knows that lifestyle, especially a female therapist, and isn't terrified of the things I'm going to say. This is a guy that's killed people. And so I'm so grateful that all my 20 plus years out there, now I get to help people. So I have definitely, I've been a phoenix rising, coming out from the ashes to be able to not only, have an incredible life myself, be married to a great guy, have a kid at 43 years old, have a big career,
Let's
things.
let's go back a little bit. And
Sure.
congratulations on that in the sobriety and knowing that you're married to Randy. I like Randy.
Yeah, me too.
But let's go back. How was you introduced? How was you helped? Who pulled your boots? Who got you out outside of yourself? Because it's one thing to tell yourself, I'm mentally prepared to walk away. But let's get real. Are you really mentally ready? Who pulled your boots up? Who was your mentor?
I don't know that I had so much a mentor, but I had a really good friend that was also an active addiction, but she was just a very special soul. So I would say she was a huge part of we both wanted a better life. I also saw a therapist in those last couple years, and it was a therapist that she knew I was getting high. She knew I was getting high probably right before her sessions. She's one of the few people I actually told about my drug use and my violent relationships. So she definitely was a huge part of trying to get me to make some different decisions. And eventually what happened is I was in a really toxic, crazy relationship. I was coming up on 40 years old. And I was just like, I just couldn't even fathom that I had gotten to where I've gotten, and I had nothing to show for my life. Back in my 20s, I was a pretty high up in the entertainment industry. I was one of the highest promoted females in a independent, it was called Hemdale Entertainment. And I was the only female executive. So back in the day, I, definitely was, had my shit together. And when at the end, I was slinging liquor at a dive bar here in Los Angeles. And, I had nothing to show for my life. I just was, it was like Groundhog's Day over and over.
Now,
And
when didn't mean to cut you off, so I'm gonna just ask this question. I'm really big on therapy. I think therapy gives you a chance to really evaluate your choices and to determine whether or not you're doing what's in the best interest of not only for your own mental health, but the mental health of others around you. When you walked into that therapy session and your therapist knew you were still undertaking, still participating in these activities, what was the words that she said that gave you the encouragement to say, you know what, I need to be taking this a little bit seriously?
I don't remember her words. I just remembered that she allowed me to have a safe place to be honest about what I was actually doing because there was no one in my life that I was sharing the truth with. So she allowed me, it was a safe place. She was she really had very little experience with addiction. So she didn't really have a lot of resources for me, except for really encouraging me to go to a detox. And so, although my how it all happened and how I ended up in a detox wasn't the traditional way by just, willing to go in. But she was absolutely a huge part of that journey. And she was one of my first visitors when I was in detox. She came to visit me.